and the title of my Soapbox dialogue is White Supremacy in Black Faces. Now you might think that I'm referring to white people in black faces, but I'm not. I'm referring to people that look like you and I, who sometimes inadvertently, sometimes intentionally, sometimes for nefarious reasons, they engage in behaviors that perpetuate white supremacy. For instance, how many times have you heard someone that looks like you say, well, what about black on black crime? That perpetuates white supremacy. How? Well, have you ever heard white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime? Crimes are committed around people that folks that they're around, so it's crimes of proximity. So there is Asian on Asian crime. There is white on white crime. There is black on black crime. But we only hear about black on black crime. And so I ask, when they ask that question, I respond by saying, well, what about white on white crime? And what about Asian on Asian crime? And they look at me like I'm the one that's crazy. Have you thought about pull yourselves up by the bootstrap? That's one that triggers me, because many of us may not even have bootstraps to pull ourselves up by. And that goes to rugged individualism. But most recently, I read an article that talked about Black Americans' continued deification of victimhood. Now this really triggered me, more than when I was on Montoya's show and Leo triggered me talking about the bootstrap theory. But this triggered me because it plays on our sense of pride, and it was written by a black woman. And so the reason that it triggered me so much is because professionally, my job is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I look at data all the time. And so when I look at data that says black people are paid inequitably, how is it being a victim to insist that you pay me equitably for the work that I do? Black people are mistreated or not treated equitably in healthcare. Is it too much to ask that you listen to my complaints and treat them accordingly? Our kids are suspended from school more than other kids of other races. Is it too much to ask that my children be viewed as children and treated accordingly? This type of dribble serves only one purpose, and that's to make black people feel shame for insisting that you treat us equitably, that you give us what we're due. I'm not playing, my whole career is not built on playing the victim. It's about ensuring that I leave this world a better place for my children and grandchildren than I found, so that you can have that same level of assurance. So it's not playing the victim when we say, pay me my worth, when we insist that you listen to my complaints when I go to the doctor, that you pay attention to my pregnant friend who's about to give birth, and we know that black women have more maternal deaths than other women of other races. It's not playing the victim when the data is right here. So I call this white supremacy in blackface because all one has to do is read. And so I don't know why black people perpetuate these types of lies. I don't know whether it's for personal gain, profit, whether they don't know, but it needs to stop. We are not victims, because I think it would be more victim-like if we were to simply lie down and accept what's dished out, accept being paid inequitably, accept being mistreated in the healthcare industry, accept our kids being mistreated in school. One of the things that I read is that a lot of the teachers don't see young black children as children. They actually think that young black girls have adult knowledge as young as 5 years old. So how is that fair when I send my 5-year-old child to school and you think that they are aware of things far beyond their age? And that plays out throughout their entire school career. I ask you to not engage or indulge in white supremacy and black faces, because it harms not just you, but other generations to come.